I have a new concept for our science channel, and it's we propose PhD projects to people looking for PhD projects. So I had this idea. This idea was it's a combination of astrophysics via oceanography. And so basically, astrophysics for surf pros. This is like the most chill science you can get. And maybe somebody at U Hawaii's listening to us are going to hook us up with some professorships. Maybe we'll see. So the question is, can the oceans tell us about the Earth's orbits via the high tide and low tide predictions? The title of this, tide telemetry. And so here's my series of ideas. One is the tide forecasting is like high tide, low tide, tide forecasting. Is it measured and modeled, or is it physics simulated? What's the origin? I don't know. Follow up question: can we decompose the signal into plausible origins? Okay. I've just said a bunch of stuff there. What do I mean by the tide predictions? So this is from tideforecast.com. Locations Santa Cruz, California, tides, and these are the latest. But when I took this screenshot, it was July 24th. It was the Thursday. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's decode this. This is the vertical axis is the height of the ocean, and then the horizontal axis is the day. And so we see this complicated structure, this complicated signal. But the short of it is a low tide and a high tide, and then low tide and high tide. But it's not a single low tide. It's not a single high tide per day. There's a low tide and like a little high tide, and then a moderate low tide, and then a big high tide. And this cycle happens every day. So two high tides, two low tides, but they're not, the high tides are not the same high tides. The low tides are not the same low tides. There's a cycle there. Okay, you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, let's extend it. Let's extend it past one day. Let's go across, I don't know, 2 weeks or whatever it is. And so we see that there's like a super high tide and a super low tide. This is like the ideal time to surf, these big waves. But then I guess a few days later, there's like these moderate high tides and moderate low tides. And so my question is this just historical data where somebody measured the height and then over time you see these wiggles? Or is this actually predicted from physics? And if so, what physics?